Howdy, all of you delicious people. I'm here today to review Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead, episodes 5 through 8. I go on and I would say within these episodes, there is some give and take. There is some positive and there is some negative. And the positives are that this show still has amazing visuals. They have really good ideas and they actually take something and they go somewhere with it, which I appreciate. Because there's some other shows where they go on and they have things like a wetsuit or a scuba diving suit and they do dick with it, and it was just driving me crazy. It was just like, why spend that time to focus on this thing to do nothing with it? But we do something here. I also like how in these episodes they're trying to change it up and trying to do different things. We'd go on to eventually have an episode where they go on and they focus on like the superhero genre, and they go on to say that Tendo is going to turn into this scuba diving wielding character that is to be this superhero, where Shizuka is going on complaining to Tendo how it's like, man, you're risking your life saving me, and like it finally gets to the point where Tendo is like, you know what, everything doesn't have to be justified. If anything, we can just do things just to do them, regardless of how you're crunching the numbers and thinking otherwise. And sometimes you need to go on and take a risk, especially if you're going on and seeing a guy like Tendo that is seeing this one person is like, no, this girl is this risk analyst girl. She's going to go on and have a huge benefit to my team. So I need to save this person because it makes a lot of sense. Because if anything, with Shizuka going on and being this risk analyst and these people kind of being the opposite, there is kind of this kind of give and take with this team that kind of makes this team better because of having her in it. So yeah, it makes sense to go on and make this risk. So, we go on through these episodes. So we have at first this aquarium thing that goes on and tells us that more than just humans are turning into zombie apocalypse zombies. So I'm happy about that we're seeing this huge massive shark that has these scuba divers on its feet to justify about how this shark is walking around the way it is, even though it looks goofy. We go on to eventually also, after the whole aquarium thing, need to go into this road trip idea. Because eventually Tendo is to realize that eventually they're starting to run out of resources, that they need to make their way elsewhere. And there's a possibility that Tendo's parents' home could quite possibly be safe. Either way, it's a road trip idea. So we go on to have Tendo and have these characters go on this road trip together, and they take a really long ass time to decipher what RV they're going to go on to this road trip with, and they keep going on and on about every little bell and whistle about every one of these RVs, and then they just go onto the RV that is the most generic looking one. And I'm just like, god dang it, like, you spend all this goddamn time on every little nook and cranny detail of these RVs just to get some generic slop of an RV anyways that doesn't look cool. Let's admit that. And has no real like combat benefit, nothing. And eventually the RV breaks down anyways because it's a piece of shit. I'm just being honest here. So we go on and we have the RV and motorcycle breakdown, and then we're at a crossroads of like, oh, what are we gonna do? And then all of a sudden, conveniently, this gang of marauders that is to be led by Chief, a former co-worker of Tendo's, and he forces them with an ultimatum of like, well, hey, you guys need to go on, and you need things, right? Well, I have these items for you, but you got to work for them. So these people go into basically slave labor, and they say 2 days, but then I know it's going to be a lot more than that. They're going to figure out a way to manipulate these people to make them there forever. Because weirdly, in this place, there's a numbers game thing. For me, I would say that I would try as much as possible to be against a zombie apocalypse thing, but the more and more I watch these things, I warm up to it. Because at some point, like, somebody has to sleep, right? So eventually it's nice to kind of do like a whole sleep routine where someone goes on and sleeps certain numbers of hours, and then they rotate, and then someone else sleeps a number of hours, rotate, because somebody needs to always be awake to see what's going on, if their house or place or whatever is going to eventually get broken into, because that's paranoia for you. So, anyways, we have Tendo with his ultimatum of like, well, hey, you're going to go on and you're going to need these items, so I'm going to give them to you, but you're going to have to work for me. So Tendo gives in, and then he goes on and he gets very manipulated by these people. And he basically just becomes a zombie himself. To where, if anything, he has to be tricked into getting away from this environment, getting away from the situation. And here is where Tendo goes on and complains about how this job, it's like, oh man, like this is just as bad as my other job. It's not the same thing. It's not the exact same thing. If anything, also, this whole truck delivery thing is horseshit. Like, basically, these people have to deliver everything by just these small carts or by hand. It doesn't make sense. Feasibly, I would go on and be like, where's the dollies? Where is any number of other equipment that you should go on and be able to so easily get now because zombie apocalypse? There's no check to be cashed anywhere. But for some odd reason, these people just don't have the resources to get a thing like a dolly. You can probably find that at any store, anywhere. But no, you're just going on and you're just having these people that are to just schlup these things via their hands, and it makes no sense. Anyways, so nothing about this whole truck thing made sense to me either. Because feasibly, I'm like, okay, why are these people delivering these things? And also, how soon is this going to go horribly awry? Because there's too many people, as well as also there's the whole truck thing, and then boom, it goes south. I'm like, shocker. So we go on to have Tendo that turns back into a zombie because he was a zombie when he was working at that place. Now he's a zombie working here, where he's just, I'm manipulated. I'm doing what other people are telling me instead of having my own voice, and and having straight up the chief tell this guy off and dress him down, and he just apologizes. I'm like, I'm sorry, but what does this guy have over you? Is he gonna blackmail you? Like, what kind of dirt does he have on you? I'm so confused. Because in a zombie apocalypse, there is no dirt. There is no blackmail. People would end up dead. This tyrant does not make sense that he exists, because he would end up dead. How he goes on and he dresses down a female character does not make sense to me, because he would end up dead. They would go on, they would wait for this person to sleep, put him off in the boonies of the woods somewhere, and find a good batch of zombies to have him be nibbled away at. Straight up. Like, this guy is dead weight anyways for this team, for this regime of people. So what good is he? And eventually the team figures that out anyways. So eventually we'll get past that. Well, but eventually when we get back into the reviews, like, there's just so much stuff where I'm just like, why is this happening? Anyways, so next up after that, we go on to have this character being brought in called Beatrice. And Beatrice goes on and has this samurai armor, which I'm like, cool, like, this is a good idea. Because if the scuba diving suit was a good idea, now we have the samurai armor, which is a really good idea. Even though, like, the samurai armor is very thick. And, like, that's always what I'd be worried about in a zombie apocalypse is, yeah, it's a good thing to have, like, armor on, and it's a good thing to have a number of layers on to protect you. But also, like, if you're basically on foot, or if you're in a really hot area, you're going to go on and easily either get dehydrated, you're going to get sick easy, and then also you're going to be running around all over the place. You're going to be just sweating, like, horribly, and you're going to go on and be doing that, be wearing this thick-ass armor and all this, like, man, that's the thing where it's like, yeah, it's good to have armor on. It's good to have, like, I would go on and just be thinking, like, yeah, it would be a smart thing to be wearing, like, a football head-to-toe kind of outfit. But then also, you have to realize that you're going to keel over, heat exhaustion or something. So you need to kind of figure out the perfect balance of what to really wear in a zombie apocalypse. Or also, you just really want to look cool, don't you? Which is okay, because I would do the same thing. I would just want to look cool. I wouldn't go on and be rationally thinking out every little piece of clothing, but at least my clothing would just be a lot smarter than somebody who's to just wear a sports bra and and a pair of shorts or whatever Shizuka is wearing. This is a risk analyst girl, and she's basically wearing a sports bra and shorts and a hoodie, and that's about it. Not very tactical, not very smart here. So, if anything, I don't get this girl. I don't get her. Because she's being dumb in a zombie apocalypse. So, that's 2 points away from Gryffindor for her. So, but let's get back here. So Beatrice is going on and she has this mission about this fish. She is just so desperate to want to go on and have sushi. So she's going to take this fish and travel this way to this restaurant to get sushi. And everybody on the group is just like, well, yeah, sushi sounds like a really good idea. And to me, I'm just like, why do we need sushi that badly? It's like the whole Zombieland thing where the one character goes on and just desperately needs this Twinkie. And I'm like, why do you need that one thing that badly that you're willing to risk your life for it? Like, I get it that everybody is to go on and just like a certain thing. But, like, I'm not saying that everybody needs to just go on and zombie apocalypse to just have chicken, broccoli, and rice. But, and just have that for the rest of your life. But also, like, there are certain points where they justify how, like, there's characters within here that take risks just for food. And so I have to go on and just kind of be like, okay, like, it makes sense, but then also it's just like, when you go through a mission like this, that has become further and further more risky just to do it, then when does the common sense come in? But they go on and they go on the hill to die on, which makes a really cool, interesting visual with the samurai character and the girl and the guy in the scuba diving shark biting suit going on and just killing all these zombies, which Tendo doesn't even have like a weapon on him. Like, so we've gone into straight up 8 episodes, and the only person that has a weapon in this entire group is to be Beatrix, and that's completely it. No one else has a weapon, and I am so confused. Kensho is to even, I think, reference a gun in this whole thing. And he's like, well, yeah, I think we should probably, like, we're going to get a gun now, right? And Tendo's like, no, we're going on and we're going to get something else. We're going to get a shark bite suit. And yeah, they were even at a mall episodes ago, and not one time did they go on and search for a weapon iota of anywhere. So take points 10 away from these people from Gryffindor, because this does not make sense to me. Like, the zombie apocalypse is obviously getting worse, and they're not getting better at it. They're not getting strategically smarter about it, even though they have Risk Analyst Girl with them at all times. How are they not getting better and realizing that they need to go on and they need to have weapons? They could find random just anywhere in the street and be able to defend themselves off. They can just beat themselves off. Just beat it off. Just just do a lot of I know what I'm doing. It's a joke. Anyways, so they go on and they go eventually also into a episode that has them go on and realize that they need to finally just figure out a way to bathe themselves or get into a shower, because they've done so much labor. Well, it seemed that Tendo did. I don't know what anybody else did in this team. Because they didn't show anybody else doing the labor part. They just showed Tendo, because Enshiro was to be bandaged up. The Suzuka girl, like, what was she doing? Anyways, so she was drinking beer. That's all that I saw her do. So eventually in this last episode, they go on and they take so much time to do this whole hot springs thing. And the whole aspect of the show is just like, well, hey, we just want to see something naked, right? That's all this really was. So that's all that I'm really going to say about that last episode is like, hey, somebody wanted to see something naked. But I'll definitely go on and I'll describe the whole episode. A lot of this show, specifically within these episodes, very much reminded me of an anime that I just watched called Akiba's Trip. So if you like some of the stuff that is kind of going on here, you may like Akiba's Trip also. I'm not saying that, oh yeah, check out that review. I don't care. I'm saying that this looks similar. They also go on and they reference Power Rangers within this bit of episodes, because they say the word Ranger. And also there is to be a character that looks like Power Rangers Ninja Storm. So I'm immediately just like, okay, that's like a Power Ranger. You're not saying it is, but it looks freaking like Power Rangers Ninja Storm. Or whatever the Sentai equivalent of that is. Because this is a Japanese show. But anyways, so a little Easter egg of Power Rangers, what it looks like there. Because straight up, it looks like a Ninja Storm Power Ranger. It does. Anyways, so with that said, it's about time to just go into spoilers into these episodes. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about Zom 100 so far. If you're liking the show, if you're hating it, if you think it's too slow or boring or whatever, if you think that I've gone on to really just stretch out every one of these reviews, that's completely okay, because at the end of the day, that's your opinion. That helps the video, because it's a comment. And and to me, I can just go on and just keep moving on and just keep doing whatever other piece of content, because I'm just gonna just keep doing this regardless of how well it does or how poorly it does, because I enjoy this and I hope other people will enjoy it too. Like, this is something that I've been doing a very long time, and I've been doing it for free. So I haven't gotten one dime, one nickel from any of this, and I'm not asking anybody to go on and donate because that's just stupid. Because why would anybody care that much about doing that for me? Because all you would need to do is just view this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Um, you don't have to do stupid like things because, like, if you really wanted to just like the video just so you can go on and just remember that the show exists, so you can watch it somewhere later, that's great and all. But you don't have to like the video. Really. Like, but I appreciate anybody that goes on and does anything. View whatever. Even if it's for like 10 seconds. That's fine. Because I know it hurts the channel, whatever, but at least it's something. Like, at least at least this is going somewhere. Regardless of it being 10 seconds worth of actual viewing time, it doesn't matter to me. It's like, okay, cool. Like that tells me that I should probably go on and consistently keep talking about this bit of content. So, with that said, let's get to the breakdown of the episodes, letting everybody know now that they don't have to go on and watch the whole video, because it seems that people are to notice that some videos are very long. So, this is a point where you can cut it off and not watch this, and that's okay. So, with that said, let's go into the full-on breakdown of these episodes. Thank you for watching this. Let's pause this here, and I will get out to the point to getting to the start of all this and just rattle all this off. So that said, spoiler time, spoiler time. It's about that time I'm going to say and spoil these episodes. Yeah. All right. So in the very beginning of this episode, we go on to episode 5. We make our way into finding out that there's a flashback here. We find that Tendo is to try to be this superhero-esh like character that has this this cape and this hat on, and he goes on to defend this dog that has, I guess, a friend of his have this dog. So there's to be these bullies that are going on and mistreating this dog. So Tendo is stepping in and kind of grabbing them and biting them. And then he goes on and does this like flip like thing. He does this superhero landing. And then the bullies kind of run off. And so there's the whole like, oh, thank you for saving my dog. And so now we cut to current day Tendo, a character who is to just go on and wake up and goes on and looks at his notebook. Honestly, it is kind of weird how Tendo is to have this notebook, because if he has his phone, he could just probably write all this stuff down on his cell phone. Or reasonably, like, he could have a much smaller notebook. Like, but I guess this was just a knee-jerk thing that he only has this list in this very huge, big notebook of a thing. But in my mind, I'm like, you could have had this note, like, it's kind of cumbersome to have this big, huge notebook of a thing when there's so many other things that you could have had or used instead of this. But anyways, that's a nitpick of mine. So we come to find out that Kenichiro is to want to go on and dye his hair blonde. Okay, yeah, like in a zombie apocalypse, even people like to go on and dye their hair. Kenshiro is to mention about how him being a comedian and him having blonde hair will possibly stand out. And so I'm like, okay, so we're still going with this stand-up comedian thing that he's trying to accomplish. When is he going to accomplish this said goal? There could have been a time where he could have gone on and done this whole stand-up comedian thing because there was a number of people at the whole Chief delivery place, and he could have gone on and done his bits there. He didn't, so how is he ever going to be this stand-up comedy thing when he's not going on and he's not doing this whatsoever? So I think they just call him that he wants to be this stand-up comedian because he's the comedy in the show. Um, anyways, so plus also like it is kind of cool having stand-up comedians in a zombie apocalypse because if anything, it's better to be joking around than always being goddamn serious in a zombie apocalypse. So as Tendo is going on and playing video games, and Kensho is to have dyed his hair, they start to realize how, or no, Tendo starts to realize what he wants to do. Because if Kensho is to want to be this comedian, then Tendo has to be something also, right? So Tendo's like, well, hey, right now I want to go on and I want to become a superhero. And Kensho is like, wait a minute, like superhero, like Spider-Man? like how are you going to go on and how are you going to become that in a zombie apocalypse? You'd have to have superpowers. You have to be thrown in a vat of toxic waste, right? No, there's obviously all kinds of levels of superheroes at this point. There's the superheroes that have the gadgets, and yeah, then there is the superheroes that have the superpowers from toxic waste or born from a different planet somewhere. But that's not going to be feasible within this story. If anything, also like a superhero, like look at Batman Begins. A superhero can just be built off of a symbol, as well as also uh, being something that people can fear and be terrifying when you come into a room. That's why when Batman comes in there, people are just kind of weirded out by him because it's like, like he's this guy that dresses up as a bat. That's kind of creepy. So yeah, like that's why you have like a lot of like supernatural like characters, because if anything it just kind of makes sense. Like a demon character or whatever, like that is to be a very intimidating presence. But also like wearing a superhero outfit is not going to have a zombie give a shit whatsoever. Because all that it'll see as a superhero as is a meal, and that's about it. So Tendo goes on and mentions how he was a kid and how he used to watch like Saturday morning cartoons. And eventually here's where we go on and we see the Power Ranger Ninja Storm Green Ranger looking character. And so Tendo always has dreamed about being a superhero. So Tendo is to want to go on and tell Kensho here how exactly they can accomplish this said task. So Tendo is to go on and open up his computer, his laptop, and is to show Kensho this visual. And he says that it's hero time. It's not morphing time, it's hero time. So they make this way to this aquarium, and they realize that this could be a fun adventure, even though, yeah, they're of course going to this for a very specific goal. Because like, oh, cool, aquarium. It kind of reminds me of old times. So as they go on and they make their way into the aquarium, they all of a sudden start to notice that there's a lot of fish that are dead. But then also, because, yeah, the aquarium hasn't been fed in a while. So, yeah, a lot of people are freaking dead. But they also come to find that this big, huge, massive shark, which don't quite understand why it's there, but it's there anyways, is eventually become a zombie. So they go on and they make their way to this locker room or this maintenance area. They open up one of the lockers and Tendo goes with the spray paint and just starts spraying all over the jumpsuit. Eventually, the way that this jumpsuit looks just like with the spray paint, you would think that he would go on and make it even more like a superhero thing. But maybe there was much less color to this. I don't know. If anything, I wish that they could have made it just stand out a little bit more, especially with the spray paint that they had. They could have made it a little bit cooler. If anything, also, in the zombie apocalypse, I would really love if there's like a tailor or a fashion designer. Because yeah, I would definitely want a very specific outfit for the zombie apocalypse. I want to look cool. I want to look to the nines, right? Maybe 9.5. Just me being stupid because, yeah, you can't get the perfect outfit in the zombie apocalypse. That's not going to happen. If anything, also, there are ways to look very intimidating by you just having a shitload of blood all over your clothes. And that looks scary, right? Like, that looks like you've been through things. So, for a zombie apocalypse, it's better to look intimidating or weird looking than it is to just wear some normal clothes like anyone else. Like in a zombie apocalypse, you need to not look like a person that is just going to be walked all over. Because that's how you end up going on and being taken over by this chief character because you don't look threatening enough to him. So, moving on here. So now all of a sudden we have this bus. And this bus is mentioning how there's too many zombies and that they're surrounded. And their only hope is for them to go on and hope that the zombies will just leave this area. I'm sorry, you have Meals on Wheels going on here for the zombies. So, and there's too many people on this bus. You see where I'm going with here? Like, there's too many people on this bus. Yeah, the zombies are not going to leave because they know that there's a big, huge meal waiting for them in this one area. Whatever. So, all of a sudden, in the very back of the bus, we have this woman that's like, hey, you all right over there? Quite a bit of blood coming from your hoodie there. You okay? Pat, pat. No, we come to find out that somebody is bleeding out. And after seemingly they are to bleed out because I think they're infected, we all of a sudden come to find that this guy is kind of like cocking his head like, huh? I'm a zombie now. So, yeah, that means people are going to be killed. So, we find out that the guy is to have become a zombie, and he starts making his way through the bus of people. We have one woman on this bus that is giving us the cliche of slasher horror characters, where she just has to go on and just scream all the time, or she has to be just so like, oh my god, I'm gonna die, kind of like, and I hate that. I absolutely hate that in any horror slasher thing whatsoever, because really you're pointing out the obvious. And then also, the more freaking sounds you make, the worse it's going to be, unless you're to be a person that just either just straight up just does not give a fuck. Because I would be a person that would be like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm going to go on and make all the sounds that I effing want to. Because if anything, I want zombies to be attracted to me. I want to murder more zombies. Because it'll be fun for me. because I want more zombie apocalypse in my zombie apocalypse. Anyways, so all these people are starting to make their way out of this bus and they're booking it. Because, yeah, there's no safety outside of the bus as well as also inside of the bus because one person to be a zombie now. You would have thought these people would have kind of had some kind of weapon or something somewhere to have killed this one zombie apocalypse guy. And if anything, also, like, unless this bus is to completely be out of gas, ram these zombies over, run them down, keep going. Anyways, so we have this one woman who's going on like, I don't want to die. Yeah, because we always have to have that person in our horror films and horror shows and things. So at one point, this girl goes on and does the cliche where she has to like trip, probably over her own feet or just over her own stupidity, and she falls over. It's like, I can't move. You have two hands and a leg. Is your whole body paralyzed? Move your ass. Move any part of your body to keep going. But no, I can't move. She's paralyzed. She's scared. I get it. So that's like the people who go on and see that huge, massive typhoon coming at them, and then they're just like, "Hey, let's take a picture. Let's take a picture of this horrible thing that's going on here because I'm just oblivious because they're frozen." Anyways, so here's where Tendo comes in with Shark Bite Suit and thrusts this one zombie away. It goes flying and hits all the other zombies. Like kind of a pinball kind of thing going on here. So Tendo goes on and looks at the girl and tells her to get out of there. So that way he'll go on and he'll fight off all these zombies. I think it is kind of funny though how eventually when Tendo gets outnumbered, he like yells out for Ichiro, please help me, Ichiro. And Ichiro's like, what do you want me to do? I don't have a suit on. There is only one suit, evidently. I guess that was just shit poor planning. But anyways, you would think they would have had more than one suit, but whatever. Plus, Ichiro just likes to be naked anyways, so it makes more sense if he has the least amount of clothing on. Fair? Fair. Anyways, so they go on and they explain the whole shark biting suit about how it's built and how it has chainmail and everything like that because of course it's to be made for things that have much bigger teeth than zombies, so it should probably be fine. So we have Tendo just kind of guiding everyone else that kind of comes by, like, hey, make your way here, survive, whatever. And then that's when he meets up with Shizuka. And it's like, oh, it's her. Like, I've met her again, the risk analyst girl. Oh, is this fate? And then, boom, he's stopped by a zombie. So here's where all the zombies start coming in. And Kensho makes the observation is like, well, yeah, like you probably won't get bitten by the zombies, but if anything, like teeth are very strong. Teeth are the strongest thing in a human body that can really lock down. Like, think about it. Look at a bulldog. A bulldog is to be kind of famously known for like, hey, I hope that this dog is never going to go on and bite me because it'll never let go. So that's the kind of the worry that you have here, is hoping that a zombie doesn't have the teeth strength equivalent to a bulldog, that it won't let go. But anyways, so eventually Tendo does figure it out, and he does start chucking all these zombie bodies over this bridge. And he's like, man, zombies or being a superhero is really hard work. So uh, we have Tendo that makes his way back into the aquarium, and he knows Kensho is like, you are the worst sidekick ever. Kensho's like, hey, don't be that way. I didn't do shit, but whatever. Uh, so, uh, here's where now Tendo and Kensho are to realize, hey, this girl's here, the risk analyst girl. So Tendo goes on and starts talking to her. It's like, hey, what a coincidence. And Shizuka is to not completely remember who this guy is whatsoever. And he has to remind her who he is. Like, well, yeah, like he's wearing a completely different outfit now than he was before. But if anything, I'm sure for this girl, she was rattling off all these numbers. She probably doesn't remember this guy. Like, plus also, she was assuming that he was going to end up dead at some point. So why remember this guy anyways? So Tendo's like, yeah, I was the guy at the convenience store. Like, I was the guy that was singing that beer song, right? That you loved so much. I'm sure you have it on your ringtone, right? That whole beer song. Anyways, so but if anything, I think the reason why she doesn't want to get to know this person is so that way she wouldn't befriend them, and then when they die, she would have to feel something about that. So it's kind of smart for her to go on and kind of completely forget that anyone exists, anyways. Because the longer that you're with somebody and then they die from or they get infected, it's harder uh to not want to save that person, or it's harder to just kind of like hold your emotions in. So this girl is actually kind of playing things kind of smart, in my opinion. But anyways, uh, as Shizuka is going on and pretending that this guy is to be nothing, Kensho ends up kind of chiming in and like, well, hey, like this guy just saves your bacon. Like this guy just like helped you guys out and brought you into a place that is safe right now. Like, shouldn't you go on and kind of give him a little bit more respect than that? And Shizuka goes on and says, like, oh, well, like, respect? Like, if anything, this guy is going on and becoming this, like, superhero persona, and it's because he has low self esteem. And if anything, what, he's gonna save, like, a few people's lives? Yeah, but, like, but if anything, like, he's just putting himself more in danger by doing this. So there's a lot of sense being made here, but also it's just like, but I just saved your ass. I just saved you. Technically, even though she was running into that building anyways, he didn't really exactly save her, but it was goddamn close. Uh, anyways, so they eventually give up on the argument, and so Shizuka goes on and tells them, it's like, well, yeah, I'm still not going to go on and give you my number. So Tendo and Kensho are to be the only ones, not even Risk Analyst Girl, who notices a noise. So they investigate it. In a horror movie, there is always to be a time where people are to go on and say, hey, yeah, what's that noise? We should investigate it. It never goes well. Never. Never ever. And we're continuing that pattern here. So they go on and they find out this hallway is to be flooded with water, and that water is to also to be met by glowing red eyes, which again is not a good sign, but let's just keep just waiting to figure out what's going to be coming out of this hallway here. All of a sudden, we see a face of a shark, and even that has these guys to go on and just still be standing there, being like, "Oh, what is this?" So we find this body of a shark, but the legs are to be from scuba divers that this shark had eaten. For some odd reason, the scuba diving legs and the shark persona had somehow combined. Plus, also, when you realize it, there's certain animals that don't go on and fully consume things. So, if anything, like, this shark could have technically digested these scuba divers, and it's the scuba divers are still alive or intact within the shark body. So, that's just how weird works out. So, they're wondering why this thing has legs, but it's like, if anything, they should be more worried about how dangerous this thing is and that they need to run away from it. So they do. So Tendo and Kenshiro go on to make their way back to the group, explaining that they need to run now. And then the shark ends up coming flying in and starts nibbling away at survivors here. So we all of a sudden have one of these aquarium fish tanks that break open, and we see these zombie fish that kind of come flying in, and we really have to kind of protect ourselves because, yeah, these fish could infect us and make us zombies. So we kind of have to just be worried about this. Like, I would also be kind of worried if, like, spiders or bats or any kind of other things just eventually turn into zombies because, yeah, ants, mosquitoes, anything that can go on and just eat anybody, yeah, zombie. Um, so man, is the human race going to have a very short shelf life? The further and further that this zombie apocalypse just really ramps up, right? Anyways, so as the group go on to make their way through the aquarium, the survivors, they go on and they find zombies. So it's like, of course they're gonna find zombies. So they're trying to figure out where the exit is, and then all of a sudden another shark or the same shark breaks through here and starts gobbling up all the zombies. So now these people are trying to get to the exit, and then there's one crazy girl that's like, "Oh, I don't want to die." It's the same girl from before, the stupid girl that is gonna basically put other people's lives in risk for how stupid she is. So we go on to have risk analyst Shizuka, who's brilliant, right? She's smart. Yeah, she does one dumb move here and it costs her. Shizuka goes on and grabs a crazy girl that's like, I don't want to die. She grabs her. It's like, calm down. Like, calm down. Yeah, that was your first mistake. If anything, Shizuka, you should have continued to keep running. Don't look back. Never look back. That's why people die, is they look back. Anyways, so if anything, it's good to look back to just kind of like, hey, is everybody still alive? Like, okay, like the team I'm with, like, hey, let's go, because you don't want to leave somebody behind. But like, hey, man, like, if somebody trips and falls, then good, then also like somebody will go on and be cannon fodder for the zombies, and then you'll go on and like, okay, like I'll have a bit of break of time. It's like in a werewolf movie. You know that you're not going to go on and you're not going to survive against a werewolf. But if you're alone, you're basically fucked. But if you're with a person, there's a better chance that you would go on and survive because all you need to do is just be like, oh, well, hey, trip, and then you run off. Like, hey, I'm gonna. No, that's horrible. I'm just making a joke here. But it is kind of true, right? It's kind of true. Anyways, so So the guys make it to the exit, and the exit door is now kind of just smashed in such a way that it's hard for them to open the door back up. But they realize out of all the numbers, it's like, well, hey, where is the risk analyst girl? Where is she? So they try to open the door and they realize that this girl is to be all alone with this shark. And Shizuka is realized, like, yeah, that was my biggest problem. I had gone on and been with this team, and that was my downfall. She decided that she wanted to go onto this bus, she wanted to go on this road trip to try to get out of this town, and that's what did her in. That was the biggest mistake, and that's what she should deserve to die for, right? All of a sudden, we then get Tendo come flying in like Superman. Tendo Man. Anyways, so Tendo comes flying in and just smashes his way, tackles his way onto the shark, and is grabbing onto it, and is like a bull rider, like yeehaw, yeah. So Tendo goes flying off the shark, and now Shizuka is to say to Tendo, it's like, why are you trying to save me? And it's like, bit like I'm really. Because she's like, yeah, you're risking your life trying to save me. And I'd be like, shut up. So here's where Tendo goes on and says, like, well, yeah, everything we do doesn't need to have a reason. So, plus, honestly, how shitty that this girl was to him, and how, like, how she was to go on and be like, well, yeah, I'm too good for a guy like you, or this or that. Now we're to go on and kind of even things out. Plus, also, Tendo had gotten saved by her before, so I think at this point now, when Tendo saves her, now they're even. Now they're even, straight up. Because Tendo was to make the mistake of trying to, like, put himself between this girl and the zombies, and eventually he almost got hurt or killed while doing it. So yeah, Shizuka had to step in and save his life, but now Tendo can do the same. So it makes sense here, even though the guy says, "Oh, well, there isn't a reason for this." So, they go on, and Shizuka ends up asking Tendo, it's like, well, hey, do you have a plan? And he's like, no, I don't have a plan. It's like, of course you don't have a plan. You just went in there guns blazing, like, you did not go on and really think this through, because that's just Tendo. Tendo's plan is that he has a plan. What is the plan? We'll think that out as we go. That's his plan. That's his master plan. That's his brilliant stroke of genius going on there. So their plan really for right now is just to run around. So they run around, and this massive shark with legs is behind them. And so eventually, while they're running around, uh, Shizuka is to come up with a plan. And Shizuka's like, well, yeah, like, this could be a plan, but also it's very risky, and, like, there's a chance that this might not work out, but if anything, it's the only plan that just popped in there. So now we have Ken and Shiro. He goes on, he finds the ventilation shaft that Tendo had just gone flying through, and he doesn't know exactly what to do right now. So he's kind of just like I want to do something, but I don't know what. So he's kind of panicky here. But it is kind of nice that he does go on and try to do something here to help them out. So Shizuka is to go on and tell Tendo, hey, go on and distract the shark while she goes on, and she needs to make her way to these batteries. And so she goes into this area and she opens up this item and gets these batteries out. And eventually she'll go on and she'll chuck them to Tendo. And Tendo will go on and like the whole master plan is that this shark has some way of, for how very specific the shark is, to handle electricity. And so they're going to take these batteries and they're going to hit the shark basically in the face. And the batteries and having them in their hand should go on and electrify this shark. Plus, also with Tendo wearing this wetsuit, yeah, he's not going to go on and get electrified because, yeah, like for a number of times when superhero characters like Spider-Man would go up against electric enemies, they would go on and have wetsuits. I would know for sure, but you can go on, you can fact check that me. You can fact check that for me because I'm sure I'm right. Anyways, so the shark goes on and chases after Tendo, and there's a one point where like one of the aquarium tanks get open and all these fish start flying in as like darts or projectiles that Tendo has to kind of dodge here. So as Tendo further and further starts running around, Ichiro goes on to realize, as finally when Tendo is going to fall over and just get tired here, Ichiro is to go on and just strip down naked and is to be holding onto this vent. And it's like, hey man, want a meal? Yeah. Like, he just keeps shaking his rump just for the shark to go on and be attracted to him and make enough noise to where it is to be the decoy here. So here's where the whole battery smashing the face, the shark ends up getting killed here or taken out. So we go on to have Shizuka, who ends up mentioning that was like straight out of the comic books. But if anything, it worked. So now we have Tendo that is to be scratching off his list, becoming a superhero. And we have now Tendo, Ichiro, and Shizuka that are going on and just kind of walking along the streets here. And so we're getting to a point now where, since the two of them had just kind of keep having interactions with one another, that finally Tendo should be getting these digits, right? He had just saved this girl's life. How about hit him with those digits? So we have Shizuka that goes on to say, it's like, well, hey, yeah, I guess since we're going to keep bumping into one another, and that Shizuka is to go on and be now more open to take risks, she decides that she wants to go on and finally give Tendo her number. And I'm like, yeah, he did it. He got her digits. So that was kind of really nice for the episode. So within the next episode, we go on to have Tendo and Kenshiro go to this jewelry store. And I know what everybody's thinking. This is to be the dumbest thing for them to do in a zombie apocalypse, because it doesn't really benefit them whatsoever to just be in this jewelry store. I'm hoping that it was just a thing just for convenience anyways. Plus also, maybe even in a zombie apocalypse, maybe you just might still need a watch. Because you may still need to go on and need to know maybe what time it is. To kind of tell how long you're going to have light for, because if anything, being in a zombie apocalypse when it's at nighttime is more dangerous than during the day. So I guess that's the only rationale for a watch. Even though, if anything, it'd be probably better off to have a digital one, right? Anyways. But it's something to just have flashy and just cool. So here's where we have Tendo and we have Kenshiro that go on and realize that their resources are running out. That they only have very little of this huge container of water, and they're starting to run out of internet and all, and so on and so forth. That they're starting to further and further to discover that they're to be probably the only ones probably left alive in this area. So it would probably be much more beneficial for them to go on and just decide to just leave this place, because they're realizing how there's too overwhelmingly many of zombie compared to them. So, anyways, uh, here's where Tendo comes up with the idea. It's like, well, hey, how about I go on and how about I go to my parents' hometown, which is Gunma. I think it's Gunma. Yeah, Gunma, to see if my parents are still alive, or to see if Tendo's parents are still alive. Because if anything, that's the idea there. So they go on and they get all of their stuff that they have left together, and Kenshiro is starting to condense down what all he's really going to need. He's like, well, I don't really need underwear, right? Well, I can just go to the store and just get that anytime, right? Because, like, it's not like we have to pay for anything now because zombie apocalypse. So, all of a sudden, we have Tendo that is seeing, or that is going on, and he's grabbing this stuff that isn't exactly really needed. And so, Kenshiro just kind of mentions it. It's like, wait, you have a water gun, you have this, like, you don't need any of this shit. So, Tena goes on and he looks at his room once more and realizes, like, okay, this is my old life. This is my college days. Uh, this was my old job that I had been for 3 years. This was my old apartment. I'm going to leave all this behind. Yeah, it's kind of like moving in a way where, because I had eventually had to go on and I had to move so often because my dad was in the military. And eventually you would go on and just empty out your whole house, and you just kind of take a moment to be like, yeah, this is the room I used to live in, and now it's just so empty and lifeless. And oh well, okay, I'll just move on to the next thing, and and eventually fill in another entire room just full of shit that I probably will maybe use some point for something, right? So they go on and they get into this bike, and here's where they go on to make their way into this like RV convention because they think an RV is a good idea. So I'm not going to go into the details of all this RV stuff. We would go on to have Tendo, who has a picture of what an RV should be like, and that's the RV that eventually they quickly choose uh, when they go through all of these other ideas. So as they make their way to this RV convention, they are met up again by Shizuka. Tendo at one point is to mention that Shizuka had the idea of wanting to leave town, and so Shizuka is to mention, like, well, yeah, an RV is to be kind of the more rationale, best vehicle to go on and have to get out of a zombie apocalypse. And Shizuka and them, like, Shizuka does not want to go on and go with them. She wants to go on her own. But eventually they convince her. It's like, well, hey, Shizuka, well, you're not a driver, are you? You don't drive in the zombie apocalypse. But Tendo and Kensho do. And they've had experience driving. So they kind of just manipulate her and say, "Hey, yeah, you don't drive, so if anything, you should get us to go with you." So like they manipulate her into doing what they want her to do, and manipulate her into coming along with, because she was going to go on and do her own thing. But they're like, "No, you can't drive. It's safer if you go with us because we drive." So Shizuka's like, "Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'll go with you." So they go on for a very long effing time, and they go through all of these different options. There's this one RV, or there's this one vehicle that has this like weird like tank wheels on it, and then there's a tent on this like SUV thing. There's one RV that has this crane on it. I'm like, what are you going to use this for? Uh, Nothing. Yeah, nothing. So they go on through one RV, and then like Kensho is just butt naked with this light or whatever. I'm like, what are we doing here? Just, I'm just waiting for zombies to just come out of the woodwork and them having to make a snap decision. So we all of a sudden see one vehicle uh, that looks like a van, but like there's to be kind of a couch in it. It kind of looks like a home, but it's a vehicle, and it's very expensive. But eventually, they showcase like the inside of the vehicle, and it just looks nothing like how it should actually make sense to look. I don't know what they were doing with these visuals. I think it was just a goofy, fun thing where it's like, oh man, look how huge this thing is, when it's really not. Really, logic here, people, logic of drawing these things. So Shizuka goes on to just mention how she wants an SUV because that'll be the most substantial vehicle for them to go on and get through a zombie apocalypse, because it'll be small enough to get through places. But in my opinion, an SUV doesn't give much to like laying around anywhere. Uh, like eventually you're gonna go on and your body's gonna get sore and broken down just from just like in a car seat. You kind of need a bed too at some point. So that's why you need an actual RV, not just some car. So there's a debating back and forth, and eventually, like, the guys are just wanting to find a vehicle that just looks unique, that even has this like weird tent that pops up on the top of the car. So yeah, so eventually Shizuka goes on and finds this weird modified bug, uh, that's this like stretched out Volkswagen bug looking thing, and has like this huge uh dome on it also. It's kind of weird looking. So Shizuka goes on, it's like, oh my god, look at how beautiful that is. Oh, look at the space. So the guy's like, yeah, you're falling for it just like we are. You're just like us. Just admit it. So here's where the zombies start coming in, and they decide on the very generic RV, and they get the heck out of there. They go on and they drive, and it's kind of interesting how Shizuka here is to kind of mention about the virus and how it started here. And so, but like I would have liked for them to have been like some kind of visual aid. I would have liked it to where like the news would have had some coverage of how the very first zombie apocalypse would have happened. Because I'm sure anybody in the Brother has their phone on them at any point in time, so they could have probably gotten a camera footage of Patient Zero. But if anything, I guess yeah, we just don't have that footage. So here's where we go on, and we have these road spikes being put on the road, and Kensho is in a motorcycle, and Tendo and Shizuka is in an RV. Kensho's bike gets smashed or gets kind of slid, and the RV has its tires getting popped up, but it just kind of drives off. So Tendo goes to his friend, checking on him to make sure he's okay. And here's where we have all these buses that have this baseball team on it. That is to be with the chief and these delivery uh delivery baseball uniform looking guys. So Chief is to make himself known, and it's like, oh, Tendo, yeah, like it's nice meeting you again. So we have to go on and reflect back on who the chief was and how he was going on and chewing people out and treating them like dirt. And I'm like, oh, great, we're bringing back that guy of all people. Great, wonderful. Throw a parade for this show going on and bring back an a-hole guy. Anyways, so Tendo all of a sudden, when meeting up with the chief, he's feeling very strange. He's having problems breathing. He's having like just problems with his eyes, being so zoomed in on the screen. So the chief goes on and makes his ultimatum. Hey, you guys need tires. It looks like your friend there needs some taken care of because he's bleeding all over the place. Hey, I have these resources to help you out. All you need to do is just work for me for 2 days. And so Kensho and Shizuka are just like, no, let's not go on and let's not agree to this. Also, Shizuka's like, well, yeah, this is basically just a shakedown. And you guys are trying to manipulate us to get what you want. So Tendo just weirdly goes on and just gives into this because he's to go and realize, like, well, hey, my friend is hurt, so I'll do anything for my friend. But also, I think Tendo is just to kind of give into this because he's going back to that zombified person that he used to be, that just used to be in this job and was a yes man and just did whatever anybody said. Um, so we then go on and cut to us finding out what the chief is doing with these people, and come to find out it's some weird delivery service. And we have these people unloading trucks, and again, like, we have them delivering it, like, with their hands and these carts, which makes no sense. This one guy is just sweating profusely, wearing all these layers, and he's doing this with the cart, and I'm just like, this is just cheap retail for you. Because, yeah, there would be some places where they'd have these really heavy items, and you'd have to just have, like, just the most limited of things. To where I'd immediately go on and complain. I'm like, you guys don't have this? You guys don't have that? Like, you guys can't put forth any money to have these things that are going on to make people's lives a lot easier, but you guys just that's where I'd go on and just be like, well, bye. Like, because, yeah, I would just go on and find places that are better equipped. Like, I wouldn't go on and stay very long in a place like this that has you pick up everything by hand. That's stupid. Uh, anyways, so we have Chief that is going on to mention to Tendo how it's like, well, yeah, like it may look difficult, but it's actually a lot easier than you think it is. Of people going on and working on these truck deliveries. Yeah, it's freaking hard. Uh, yeah, it looks no. you for even saying that. Um, well, he says it's faster, but it's not easier. Um, anyways, we have Shizuka that is going on and bandaging up Kendo. And Kendo kind of feels guilty here. He's like, well, yeah, like we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of true. Could have left you for dead, but no, like we're gonna go on and we're gonna realize how Kenshiro is to have value. So we're gonna keep him here, and we're gonna bandage him up, and hopefully he'll go on and be more useful somewhere down the road. It's very hard to find that value, but we're going to eventually continue to try to find it. He's the comic relief. We need him as a comic. That's his value. He's here to make things like easier because he's gonna be cracking jokes and he's gonna have a good time. So we need people like that in the group, even though he's just we're trying to figure out his value. Anyways, moving on. So we have Kensho that's like, well, yeah, well, it's only going to be 2 days, right? And Shizuka's like, yeah, I don't think it's going to be just 2 days. Like, I think there's going to be something going on here. We're going to have to just stay here forever. So Tendo is going on and he's unloading this truck and he's getting swole and or swollen. So he's going on and being very much reminded of his last job. But then he goes on and he looks through his notebook and he's realizing that, like, hey, yeah, this notebook is going to go on and it just kind of keep me sane because I still have this goal in life to get all these things done. So that's what's kind of keeping him going here. That he's going to get out of here and go back to doing his notebook stuff because this is not a job; it's just a stopping gap to get to the next place. So Tendo all of a sudden goes on to notice this beer, and he wants to go to this place to have a cooling agent, like a heater, the opposite of heater, like a radiator or something, like a portable radiator, whatever this thing is, whatever this fan is to just cool this beer. Tendo is putting this stuff in a shady place so that way they can go on and become cooler. So Tendo is thinking that this is a good idea, that he can go on and have all this beer be cooled, so it'll go on and be waiting for all these people. So he thinks he's doing something good, and then the chief comes in like, "What are you doing? Like you're wasting all our resources." And so we have weirdly at some point where the chief's eyes are kind of red at some point. It doesn't make sense to me. Is that supposed to be like his superpower of manipulation? I don't know why his eyes glow red at some point. Was that just a coloring way of just like making the eyes stand out? I have no idea. But so we have these baseball players that come in like, hey, wow, like Chief is going on and uh making this beer cool and like he must be doing this for us. Yeah, because he goes on and he always just gives us the cheap shit. But now he must be going on and finally wanting to go on and kind of share this beer with us. And the chief is like, oh yeah, I took Tendo in here and had him go on and make all this beer cold. So to give to all you guys because we're celebrating Tendo and these guys coming in, and we're gonna celebrate all your hard work. We're finally gonna go on and have you guys eat all the food and do whatever you want, cause and waste all of our resources more, cause we're just gonna just celebrate that these new people are coming in, which will really just mean that the chief will go on and have Tendo pay for this party and have him stay there even longer. So, and to manipulate him more into staying longer. So, the baseball guys, the delivery guys are all like, oh, great, yeah, we're going to get some beer and it's going to be great. So, here's where Tendo finds out that the chief has been tying zombies to these trucks so that way they can go on and get these trucks moving when they run out of gas. So Chief says that the zombies are like a usable resource, and like, well, yeah, why not? Like in The Walking Dead, we would go on to find in that show that they would kind of use zombies in a very creative amount of ways. And sometimes, like the governor, we would go on in The Walking Dead to have him kind of like contain zombies up. So if anybody was to be a threat of him, like he can go on and just open up all these cages and send these zombies out to kill all these people. And that was actually a pretty impressive strategy. We're also eventually like threats later on go on and disguise themselves as zombies and then kind of have a horde of zombies with them that they can kind of control. Anyways, so yeah, bizarrely in Walking Dead, they go on and they use zombies as a resource, which isn't exactly stupid, but it's just kind of not moral either. But also, look at Michonne. Michonne to go on and chop up her zombies and then just carry them along with her so that way she wouldn't go on and get killed by zombies. So that is kind of I guess a plus side to that also. Anyways, so here is where Chief goes on and dresses Tendo down. Uh, Chief goes on and tells Tendo how Tendo and the zombies, they're really honestly no different. That if anything, they're a company piece of equipment like Tendo is. And if anything, if Tendo is to think that he's something special, that he's a unique and beautiful snowflake, he would be wrong. So we then cut to more people with carts in hands going on to do more uh, stuff with these trucks. So Kenshiro is going on to mention to Shizuka how this guy was Tendo's old boss and that Tendo should not go on and be treated the way he's been treated. And Shizuka goes on and takes it upon herself to realize in her past that she had gone on to be treated in the same way by none other than her own father. So we get a flashback because Shizuka is like, well, yeah, like I've known guys like him because she knew her own father. So we have at one point where in the past Shizuka was to have found a dog that was in the box just out in the street somewhere. And so Shizuka rescued it. She brought it home, and Shizuka had gone to ask her father if she can go on and take care of this dog, which he's like, no, like this is a sick dog. Uh, if anything, it's a waste of time. It's another mouth to feed, blah, 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 blah. So Shizuka goes on and keeps the dog, but puts it into the attic to where her father is supposedly to not know about it. So Shizuka goes on and feeds the dog, and it won't eat. So she goes on and figures out that the dog is sick, and then figures out a way to fix it. Eventually, Shizuka wants to go on and become a doctor, and Shizuka's father says, well, that's a waste. Like, if anything, a doctor is to kind of be treated as a less than person. Da, 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 da. So Shizuka does not become a doctor. If anything, she's forced to do the exact same job that I believe her father did, because they don't ever show that. So, plus also, he does kind of make a good point where he mentions how, like, well, hey, like, if you do something wrong, you could get sued, and yeah, like, you'll be worse off if you're a doctor. Because people can get sued for malpractice and all kinds of things all the time. Anyways, so eventually, Suzuka is to be confronted by her father, and he goes on to say, "Hey, yeah, I figured out what you're doing in the attic, and if anything, I sent Animal Patrol to take the dog and put it to sleep." It's like, no, no, oh, that's sad. Well, at least get to not see the dog die on screen. At least the dog's death is off screen. So at least that's nice, right? Even though it's still horrible. So, and I just wanted to go on and I wanted to just cover all that because I didn't want to get into all of it. So now we have Shizuka making her way uh, to be around these people who are all celebrating and all drinking beer. So there are guys that the delivery guys are going on and they're talking about if they will go on and get infected if they have sex with a zombie. I'm like, really, dude? Like, you can't put your dick in your pants? Come on. Anyways, so, like, masturbation is a thing. Anyways, so, but if anything, also, like, I guess if you're attracted enough to a zombie, and that's stupid. Uh, I'm surprised that I don't see it in a lot more zombie apocalypses more. Like, when you really think about it. It's gross, but I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often. Because that would just be the weirdest effing thing. Uh, anyways, well, hey, I find zombies attractive. Whatever. Anyways, so, uh, so at one point, Tendo is going on, and he has one of these beers fall. It doesn't break, but it falls. The guys go on and complain to Tendo, like, "Hey, like, what are you doing with that beer? You're kind of wasting resources." So that could have broken. Blah, 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 blah. So while that's going on, and while again Tendo's getting dressed down again, we then have the chief that makes his way to Suzuka and kind of licks his lips. What a creep! Of course, we have to go this way. Like this is kind of also the equivalent of Negan going on to that girl and saying like, "Make me lemonade, make it good." Yeah, it's the same thing. It's weird. He should have gone on and watched her doing it and the whole entire time be like, nah. That would have been weird. Anyways, so uh, we go and have the chief that is forcing Shizuka to drink this beer, and so she does so. Because normally Shizuka doesn't drink beer because it's a waste, and she usually drinks water. So he's like, hey, stop drinking that water, drink this beer. So she does. So the chief goes on and says, man, you handle that drink like a pro. You're going to be handling something else like a pro later on. Uh, zip. So basically telling this girl, it's like, well, hey, you're going to do whatever I say, and that's not going to happen. No, not for this girl. So here's where Chief brings Tendo back and tell him, like, hey, man, I'm out of booze. So Tendo is going to be walked all over. So Tendo goes on and just hands him just some bottle and doesn't realize it's empty. And then Chief throws it on the ground. It's like, hey, that was empty. Like, bring me a beer. So again, dressing this guy down. So I've gone on to already mention all of this stuff, so I can cut through all of this. That's great. It's all the young Shizuka stuff, so I mentioned all this. So So now, as Tendo is going on and cleaning up all these cans that are also on the ground, and how eventually also uh, Chief is to finally just say to Tendo, it's like, well, yeah, you know what? I'm saying all this because I find potential in you, and I'm like, isn't that kind of like a abusive relationship in a lot of ways, where it's like, I don't want to get into the details, but it's like, yeah, this kind of seems like a very abusive relationship. uh, where it's like, hey, yeah, like, because you treated them like dirt for so long, now just say one thing nice to them, just to keep them along, just to be like, oh yeah, well, he did say that one thing nice to me, but eventually he'll say 80 other things that are to be just horseshit to you. So that's nice. That we're gonna have to go on and have you realize that you should probably just leave this person's ass at some point. Anyways, so uh there is to be at some point a conversation between Shizuka and her father, which don't really remember this much at all, to be brutally honest. Uh, they're driving by and they're noticing homeless people, and we would go on to have the father who's mentioning, uh, there's all these poor people out there, and they live how they want to, and there's people that go on and put their wants aside, and then they just become embarrassing. And so the father goes on and turns to the daughter. It's like, well, are you listening to me? Basically saying it's like, hey, you're going to become something. So here's where Shizuka goes on and finds Tendo's notebook, and she makes adjustment in it to, because she finds the list, and she notices all the stuff that he put in here, and is like, God, this guy is so weird. But then she goes on to write in the list, okay, tell your boss off. So we have the delivery guys, and they're going on, and they're keeping this truck, the back of it, they're keeping the doors open. And they say, hey man, we shouldn't probably go on and keep these doors open for really long because a zombie could slip in, right? It only takes one, right? So they're saying all this because as they close the door, there's going to be a zombie that's within the truck. So the 2 days are now up. Tendo, Kensho, and Shizuka are to realize that, okay, like our services are done. And Tendo goes on and is to try to convince the guys, hey, I'm going to go on and I'm going to stay a little bit longer because I owe it to the chief, right? Like, we've gone on to just be here for a pretty good long amount of time. And, like it seems to be pretty plush. Like, if anything, like, so the more and more Tendo is going on and saying this, the more just zombified that his eyes look. So Kensho and Shizuka are looking at him and like kind of snap him out of this, like, hey, what's happening to you? What's wrong with you? So Shizuka goes on to say, it's like, okay, well, like, you know what? If he doesn't want to go on and he doesn't want to go with us, we can just go on and we can leave. That's fine. But if anything, before they leave, Shizuka goes on and thrusts the notebook back in Nintendo's arms, and he looks at it, and he realizes that the last thing on there is to tell his boss off. So Tendo goes on and realizes, like, yeah, that's what I'm going to go on, and that's what I'm going to do. like, yeah, this notebook thing is to try to snap him out of whatever this zombified thing is, because that was just keeping him sane. That was the one thing that was keeping him sane, was the notebook. So here's where Tendo finally turns and goes on and tells the chief off. He's like, okay, like, I've been doing this for 2 days now, and like, I'm sorry, but if anything, like, we've done enough work, we're going to leave. And the chief was like, wait a minute, what? Like, I thought you were going to stay here. And Tendo's like, no, not going to stay here. So the chief is like, but uh, you drink all my food, and like, I let you stay here. And the Tendo's like, well, yeah, I'm grateful, but goodbye. Like, apologies for not going on. And like, if anything, we were going to stay for 2 days, and that was it. So the further and further that this goes on, and Tendo scratches this thing off of his notebook, here's where the truck comes in, and the truck ends up opening up, and there's a zombie in there, and everybody realizes, like, oh my god, there's a zombie. All of a sudden, the delivery guys start to go freaking crazy on these trucks, and one guy ends up going on and smashing into this vehicle that unleashes all the zombies who are leashed to one of the trucks. It lets them free. So that even has more zombies going on and nibbling away at these zombie delivery guys. So everybody is going on and just getting on top of the highest vehicle that they can. It's kind of like the Kevin Bacon movie Tremors. Everybody is scrambling to just grab anybody who's not a zombie and thrust them onto these vehicles to save their lives. So all of a sudden, Tendo notices this food truck, and he's like, okay, this could be the one thing that could kind of go on and help us here for how big this truck is. So all of a sudden, we find that the chief is having zombies chase after him. And I'm like, yeah, let that or die. Like, it's okay. He's been such a dick to everybody. Like, come on, yeah, kill him off. You know what? I get that we should value all human life, but maybe not this one, right? Maybe it should be like the Batman Begins thing, where it's like, yeah, I'm not going to kill you, but I'm not going to save you either. So, but Tendo goes on and is a better person than I am. And so Tendo goes on and gets the food truck in between the zombies and the chief. And Tendo goes on and tells the chief to get on top of the food truck. So they do. So they're scrambling to try to figure out some kind of plan, and they come up with one. So Tendo goes on and kind of tells his plan to the delivery drivers. Hey, I have this plan to kill all these zombies off. So, but if anything, I just need your help. So what they do is they take all the delivery trucks and they box it into an area to kind of herd all the zombies in one uh, square area. And then there's to be the food truck in the middle. So what they end up doing is finding uh, a a propane tank, and they open the propane tank so that way propane gas will start coming in. So Tendo goes on and is to light this flare gun, and then as soon as everybody who's human who is free, Tendo goes on and throws the flare, and that area around them all explodes, killing all the zombies simultaneously. So now we go on to have the delivery guys and everybody who's working with the chief turn against him because they realize, yeah, this Tendo guy, he was much more of a leader than you ever were, chief. So we're gonna leave you. Like, we've gone on and done all the hard work that we thought that we should go on and do now. Now we're all going to leave you behind. And the chief was like, wait a minute, no. Like, so everybody just starts leaving them behind, as well as also Tendo and his group. So they get back on their RV and motorcycle. And so Tendo is going on and talking about finding the right job, but there's no rush to get one now because there's still a zombie apocalypse going on. So, and Shizuka goes on to mention how in the past there had gone on and been so many different kinds of jobs, like influencers and entrepreneurs and all kinds of things. And now that all kind of seems like something that doesn't matter as much as it does now because of the zombie apocalypse. So now we cut to credits, it seems, and the guys are all driving off and they're making their way to Gunma. So, in the following episode, we go on and we see them go and do this like weird, goofy surfing where they're like stretching. They're doing some kind of weird, goofy trisup yoga, whatever that means. I guess when you kind of think about it, for a zombie apocalypse, you should kind of work out a little. Or at least yoga, you can kind of like stretch your body out because it makes a lot of sense to have some kind of form of exercise. That's one thing that in any zombie apocalypse thing they don't really show. If anything, I think it would be cool if they had a zombie apocalypse start out in a gym, like a workout gym. But if anything, also it would kind of suck because when you think about it, what if you're on the bench and you're like bench pressing, and then all of a sudden zombie comes in like, ah! You drop the weights, you die. But wouldn't it be cool looking? But yeah, um, like if there would be people just kind of siphoning into the gym, and then all of a sudden zombie apocalypse breaks out right as it opens or something. That would make a lot more sense. But like if you're going on and you're having a gym go and be like midday where people are like banging and clanging on all these like these machines, yeah, and then a zombie apocalypse breaks out, a lot of people could not only get hurt, but then also, like I said, like the bench press, like someone would die. But anything would be funny though. Anyways, so after going on and doing the yoga, we have Shizuki that's going on and reading through this notebook. And they end up stopping at this one point because there's too many zombies, and then there's this truck that's to go on and just gonna be stopped. They realize that there's a possible survivor within this truck, so Tendo is to grab on his shark bite suit and go out there to try to help out whoever. So the three of the group go on and they all act, even though Tendo's to be the only one with the shark suit. So the truck opens and a samurai armored wielding swordsman is to be flying out of it and starts chopping through all these zombies. Maybe this person fell asleep and all these zombies just swarmed her truck. Maybe that's why she's to go on and to have not have killed all these zombies so far. I have no idea. But if anything, she goes in there and she just starts chopping away, crossbowing away, shooting away. They end up having to say all these things with all these letters, and it looks really cool. But I'm just like, okay, like, is this Batman 66? The Bamf, the it's kind of goofy when you think about it, but that's kind of what they're doing here. So after they go on and they murder everybody, then Beatrix reveals herself to the team. And they're like, wait a minute, she's a foreigner? She's a girl? And then Shizuki's like, well, hey, where do I start? You, me, same girl, yeah, like, let's go on. So Beatrix is to mention how she is, of course, be a foreigner. She has an accent. And she is to have made her way here because she has always ever wanted to do nothing more but to love this country. Or to love this, to love Japan and whatever. And she goes on to showcase how much knowledge she has. And Shizuka goes on and is to throw on the samurai helmet. Is like, well, yeah, like this samurai armor is actually uh pretty much a good strategy for a zombie apocalypse. It's like, yeah, like it covers her whole entire body, uh, and it's thick. But also, I'm sure you're gonna sweat like the day is the day is young. Anyways, so they go on and they open the truck and they realize that there's just a bunch of fish there. What are you gonna do with fish? So Beatrix goes on and mentions how she wanted to deliver this fish to this sushi restaurant, but her truck ended up having a problem with the tire because the tire is completely gone. So there is no way for her to like transport this truck anywhere. So she just kind of ended up here. So the guys all go on and decide to go, well, hey, I want some sushi. Uh, like it's easy to go on and convince them. Like, hey, I want some sushi too. I want some, and like Kensho is like the only holdout where it's like, really, all you guys just want sushi, whatever. But Beatrix is to mention, hey, if we go on and we deliver all this sushi to this guy, we can have endless amount of food and drink. Like he promised that if we go on and we deliver all this, he will go on and he will feed us. So here's where Tendo goes on and just starts taking his bag and just starts filling his bag with fish. Because Tendo's like, well, yeah, we'll go on and we'll help her because Tendo likes this girl. And so they're definitely going to go on and try to help her. So eventually, what goes on to happen here is as they make their way, at some point, they realize that there's too many zombies to get to this restaurant. So their plan is to go on and get these trucks and do exactly what they did with the food truck with all the delivery trucks around them. They're going to try the exact same thing. They're going to go on and have this street be blocked off at one point with the truck and another part of the street be blocked off with another. And then they weirdly have all this alcohol on them. So they're going to go on and chuck all these things of alcohol. And then they're going to hope that they're going to light this match. And the match can't light for some goofy reason. So they're starting to realize that the zombies are starting to get out of this area that they're kind of holding them in. And so it gets to the point to where Tendo just decides that since the zombies are getting ever so close to their RV and it might ruin their fish, Tendo's like, well, hey, I'm going to go on and I'm going to just kill off all these zombies because if we don't go on and if we don't complete this mission, then then I'd rather become a zombie than not go and have sushi. So Tendo just goes running off and Beatrix is like, what? And so, but it's okay. Beatrix will follow after him. So, because she admits that Tendo is right. So Tendo just starts going out there and just going ham, just fist to fist, because this guy still does have no weapon on him. Just god dang it. I honestly hope that Tendo becomes a zombie because he doesn't have a weapon on him. He should, logically. I'm like, this guy should have a weapon by now, and he doesn't. Still, after 8 episodes so far, no weapon. So Beatrix comes flying in and starts slicing and dicing all these zombies. And and she apologizes because she wavered. So the two of them go on and make combo attacks together at some points, but then they also go on and they take down zombies separately. At one point, we have Beatrice that calls out for Tendo to help her. And so Tendo goes on and sees this zombie, and he drop kicks it from behind, and it smashes into the truck and it falls over. The further and further we fight here, the more and more just zombies they're seeing are still around. So there is all of a sudden to be this drone that has this megaphone on it, and we find music that is playing on the drone. So at one point, when they had stopped at this store somewhere, Beatrix was to have gone on and given her Walkman to Shizaka, because at some point it was going to be a benefit, and it does now. They had gone on to play this music, and the zombies had been snared to go in the direction of where the music was going instead of going after these people. So, yeah. So, Shizuka's plan was to go on and just have an area that just made a lot of noise. And then they could figure out a way to have all these zombies be attracted to this one area and then somehow light this place on fire. They go on and they find this Molotov cocktail. They have burst into flame, and then they chuck it. So shortly thereafter this, all the characters go on and make their way to this sushi restaurant, and they're scarfing down all this food. We go on to have Beatrix at one point crying for how much she's enjoying this food. And now the chef is going on and crying as well, because he's just so happy that this woman is to be so appreciative of his cooking, because he would go on and he would cook so often and this and that, but no one would ever really appreciate him for what he does. But just seeing this woman like appreciate everything he's doing, he's like, man, like, you know what? Like, I had all this like alcohol just kind of stored in the back, but if anything, you guys can just drink anything you want. Whatever. Like, so because he's just happy, so he can just die a happy man now. So pig out on a nice sushi restaurant. Cross that off the list. Also, with now seemingly being Beatrix being a part of the team here, and I think she's gonna end up with Kensho. Yeah, like, for honestly what she wanted to do a part of this list, made it a part of Tendo's list, because he realized how much of a big benefit that this girl would be. So yeah, he saw the value in her, so he wanted to do what she wanted to do. So if anything, regardless of how I felt, like, yeah, this is just video game level, it's kind of stupid just to get sushi. When you think about it, Tendo does go on and do a lot of stupid stuff. So if anything, that's the justification there, that it's like, yeah, this girl has this one goal, that's all she's ever wanted to do, and then they achieved it. And then also anybody on this list, or anybody who's going to adjust the list and add their thing on there. Yeah. So anyways, so all the guys are all now complaining about they're all being sweaty and swampy and yucky. So they all try to make their way to a hot spring, and they get into these robes, and they go on and make their way to this hot spring, and eventually they find out that there's too many zombies there. So eventually they go on, and so we also have Beatrix that has to go on and go way too much in detail about everything of this culture, and then they have to like speed it up, because of course this will be boring and nonsense, so it's kind of funny. So But the bigger thing here is also how they're starting to talk about love here, or love sick. And they talk about become loved ones to someone you dislike, uh, love interest with a poor cost performance of the. Anyways, so they go on and they jump into this hot springs. Well, the guys jump in and they're in there for a good while, and then the girls are like, "Wait a minute, like I don't want to go on with you within this hot springs with you." And they're like, "Where's the girls' pool?" Well, there isn't a girls' pool, so the girls go on. Beatrix is to be convincing, like, well, hey, like it doesn't really matter, like we'll just all jump in there together. Um, and so Beatrice completely disrobes and she's completely nude. And then that's when the zombies come in. So they all rush out. So like I said, like they go into this hot springs, they waste their time, they realize that they have to just go back and uh and get out of this hot springs. It's kind of funny because the girls kind of are upset that the boys like, well, hey, you spent more time in the hot springs than we did. Yeah, whatever. So either way, uh after going on and after leaving the hot springs, we have Tendo, and he finds a much more natural hot springs that's just coincidentally nearby. Because eventually they had all gone on to make their way to these like higher ground areas of caves or mountainside. And here's where Tendo goes on and spots this natural hot spring. So Tendo goes into the water and is to just being a bit of relief. And all of a sudden, Shizuka is to also be in the water also. Honestly, I'm to go on and be like, well, yeah, like I was thinking like, okay, where was Shizuka? Because I was thinking like, okay, there was Kensho and there was Beatrix. I'm like, okay, where is Shizuka? And I'm like, oh, she's probably in the water somewhere. And then poof, there she was. So as soon as they go on and they notice one another, it's like, oh, I'm looking at you. Oh, you're looking at me. Oh, like we can't look at one another. So if anything, Tendo is like, why is this such a problem? Why can't we just go on and both share this hot springs and we just won't look at one another? Yeah, so both of them go on and they're on each of their side of the rock and nobody's going to look at anybody's boobs or dick or whatever. So it's fine. So, but eventually, the more and more that they start talking here, they're kind of teasing that these two are going to have some kind of relationship here. And then seemingly after that we have Kensho and we have Beatrix that notices this natural hot spring also, and they realize that the two are already in the water. It's like, hey, you guys didn't tell me about this hot springs? What the heck? So Shizuka is now wanting to go on and have these people join in on this hot spring, but they're like, hey, like you're in here, you've been in here, like we're gonna go on and we're gonna do the same. So they thrust away their clothing and they jump in the water, and that is to go on and just kind of wrap up this episode. At the end, I think they end up also crossing off the whole going to the hot springs thing. I think is one thing that they cross off with the thing of the 100 things to do. So with that said, I'm gonna get that out of here. Yeah, I know that this was almost 2 hours long. I don't really care because eventually I just go on and I like to do this process. Because I just gone on and had just another person go on and be like, yeah, this thing was 2 hours. Yeah, all of them are. There's sometimes where the videos are even way longer than that. Again, it's always to be some random new person. It's always a rando. It's always a new thing. Whatever. Like for me, I'm like, this is just my process. Like if anything, I'm fine with doing a video that is to be this length. But if anything, people will probably have problems with it. They probably don't want to listen to me for 2 hours, and that's okay. Because if anything, I want to go on and feel that me doing this way makes me happy. Like that is my bare bones basic thought of why I'm doing any of this, because it makes me happy doing this stuff. So yeah, that might go on and be just very much a selfish thing and whatever. Um but yeah, like I am happy to do something like this. Um and also people can watch the first 10 minutes of the thing and then or 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever and then click off. Anybody can come back to this if they want to. uh if anything, there always is that pause button. Like there is always a way for you to come back to this video whenever you want. That's, I think, the thing that just irks me more so than anything is like, hey, like I would definitely go on in every single one of these videos and tell people you don't have to watch this whole entire video. But people will go on and just complain to me how it's just like, well, yeah, this hour, this is X number of minutes. You don't have to watch the whole thing. You don't. I'm not putting a gun to your head and telling you to watch this. Uh, if anything, yeah, like I'm just finding this stuff and I'm enjoying it, and I hope someone else will enjoy it too. Um, but yeah, but live your life. I can go on and live my life. I'm happy to do this. I'm happy, regardless of how poorly it's doing, which currently right now it is doing poorly. Um, that's on me. Fine. I'll just find some other content somewhere that's going to do well. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but at some point it will happen. At some point I will go on and I will go back to doing as well as what I was doing when I started this channel. But right now, I have 490 subscribers to this channel right now. It may be less than that, it may be more than that. And I'm grateful for anybody going on and at least looking into any of this stuff or going on and subscribing to this channel, because it means a lot to me that someone is willing to make that investment. Like I am to go on and try to make as much as investment as I can in this channel by talking for 2+ hours. That's the investment I'm willing to make. And if someone else doesn't like that investment, then there's nothing I can do. I'm sorry. But that's just who I am. I'm sorry. Like, if anything, I've even contemplated making these videos shorter. I've contemplated um, doing these videos in a number of different ways. But I just like this way of doing it. I'm sorry if that hurts anyone else's feelings. Um, so, plus, also, when I think about it, I would go on and watch gameplay for 3 hours, 4 hours. What is the difference? Because if anything, like it's just because it's like, well, there's gameplay in the background. There's somebody who's going on and doing commentary on it. Whatever. It's the same thing. It's a double standard. It's someone else going on and talking through the entire video for X number of hours. But like I'm never going to do a reaction thing on this channel. I won't, because if anything, that gets claimed all the time. It gets claimed, then it makes the channel pointless. And at some point, you always have to worry that your item, that any one of your videos at some point is going to get claimed for something. Plus, also, I would even go on and do videos that weren't gameplay before, and they would get claimed by something. They would just have the video get taken down because of just some image in the background, and it made no sense because there's a Teen Titans thing. I'm like, why was this video to get taken down? And there was no real answer. I don't know why. I guess I must have just ruffled feathers of some Warner Brothers thing. I have no idea. Um, by my opinion of some movie, I don't know. If anything, they didn't do a strike against me. There's no copyright thing, but for some odd reason, um, there was just some image that I guess that I don't know, like that's why I would go on and have to adjust all my images to make them less original than what they were because of the threat of me going on like, oh well, if I just slap a visual in the background, it could get claimed or something. So I'm just going on and just making adjustments so that doesn't exactly happen. So I don't know. But yeah, but I like what I'm doing, and if I have to convince people why I'm doing it, uh, then I hope that this is enough. That I'm just happy doing this, and I get that that I probably could have gone on and done a lot more videos in one day, but also I have to take hours watching bits of content anyways. To just do a 10-minute video really doesn't make sense. That I'd rather much go on and do an episode of the show, which is like 20 minutes of something, and then just do a video on that. And that may go on and be worth it. But even that, like, no matter how long a video is, people will complain about how long it is, anyways. That's the thing. Um, if the video is 30 seconds, like, oh, yeah, I wish this video was shorter. Yeah, anybody would have that complaint. It's just like when I would go on and I would do fitness shorts, a lot of people would go on and talk about form. And it's like, well, yeah, like that's the obvious thing to just point out. Um, because you can't go on and say anything else. So anybody could go on and just have something negative say, like, regardless of it actually being about the video. That's the hurtful thing, is just like, well, yeah, like people are just going to keep saying this and I'm just going to keep ignoring it. Or also just be like, I'm just going to go on and just keep doing my thing and just continue to be happy. So I hope that you will go on and have a happy day also, and you do you, because I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. So I don't know. I always tend to put my foot in my mouth so viciously on these videos because I'm just trying to be a good person. I'm trying to be a good person. I hope that comes off. And like I think I get more negative than positive stuff, and it's just like great. Like when I come on here and I find, oh, there's a notification. Oh, it's just some a-hole just being a douche again. Great. Another thing of that happening. Wonderful. Why did I think it would be any different? Um, so with that said, thank you for watching. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody. Plus, also, I should not even be doing this video. If anything, I should be more concerned about what's going on with my mother in the hospital, because she is to be kind of spending the weekend at hospital. Because I should be more concerned about that than doing a video. But I'm here for 2 hours talking to you. So, with that said, I'm going to go on and I'm going to get out of here so I can talk to my mother who's in the hospital. And she had texted me before this video was started, and I didn't get back to her. So, for those of you that are just continuing to treat me like dirt, this is what I have to say to you. That I'm doing this instead of going on and being in contact with my mother who's in the hospital right now. So, bye, everybody. Bye, everybody.